So the lights went on at 4, and you're back to normal there.
Yeah.
There you
So
go.
I spent a lot of time tweeting, and especially about the Zimmerman thing. That was big news last night. Hannity with a coup.
Yeah, big.
With a coup, getting an interview with George Zimmerman, and very open and honest. The lawyer barely stepped in for anything.
Right.
And Sean was asking him questions about everything, every subject that people have been asking questions about. I saw a guy that looked very composed. He comes off looking a lot younger and a lot more less threatening in real life than he does in his mugshots and the pictures the media has shown. Very articulate, not a tough guy, and what he was saying seems to jibe with the evidence that has been made public so far. And I honestly, sincerely think this guy's walking. I think he's walking, and I don't even think it's going to be fucking close.
He said he was didn't he say, I'm only reading quotes, but that he was walking?
No!
And, well, technically he was told to stop by the police. But he kept
God, how many times I have to answer that fucking thing? People are really dumb. They just don't know what the fuck. The police told him, do not follow. No, they didn't. No one fucking even said that. The 911 operator says, we don't need you to do that, when he said he was going to follow Trayvon to see, where he was going. He's a neighborhood watch guy.
Right. Now, where did they confront it? Where did Trayvon confront him? Because I always thought, it looked like they had obviously a fight, but that Trayvon probably just fucking popped him. Because if he's telling the truth.
Well, why don't we go
through
the
on the phone?
Why don't we go through the audio?
We could do that. Sure.
And then we can fill in the blanks here.
Sure.
George Zimmerman and Hannity in a hotel room, right? Hannity went down to Florida?
Yes, he did. He went down to Florida and interviewed George Zimmerman.
How'd they secure him in a hotel room?
Oh.
It was all top secret, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Zimmerman says he wasn't afraid of Trayvon and explains what he was saying on the phone that sounded like coon.
Oh, right.
Oh.
You said in that tape, something's wrong with him. He's checking me out. I don't know what his deal was. So it's almost from the very beginning, you felt. Are you saying on that 911 tape that you felt threatened at that moment when you said that to the dispatch?
No, not particularly.
What did you mean with, I don't know what his deal is, he's checking me out?
The way he was coming back, and I was on the phone, but I was certain I could see him saying something to me, and his demeanor, his body language was confrontational.
There was a controversy from early on, George, where there was some in the media that, quote, hired expert voice analysts and on certain networks, and then they ended up having to recant and rescind their analysis, where they said these, quote, expletives get away with this all the time. Do you remember what it was that you said specifically on the tape?
Punks.
Punks. It was not a racial epithet of any type.
No, and I can tell you that when the police played it for me in the station, it was clear as day.
Really? Punks and coon don't sound similar at all.
Punks.
Punks. I'm just throwing that in my head. Punks.
Yes, punk.
How does that turn out to sound like coon?
Was it coon? Yeah.
Then it sounded like cold. It's cold.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh wait. Did we have that? Can we find that, Sam? It's
I want to hear the original clip now.
Yeah, Zimmerman says.
Now that
coons.
he's saying it was punks.
Because coons is what they thought it was, but it wasn't.
No.
Then they thought it was something else. God, they really fucking. They wanted this to be a racial killing so fucking bad.
Yes, they did.
God, they behaved fucking repulsively.
Yes, they
The
did.
media really fucking behaved badly.
All right, here it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I might have to find it.
How long is that clip?
2 minutes.
All right, yeah, you find it, please.
Yeah.
So we can play that.
Yeah. I mean, he sounds very. It just sounds like a reasonable fellow during this interview.
Sam's got it.
Oh, here it is.
Punks.
Oh, fucking punks.
Fucking punks.
Wow, let me hear that.
Listen to that.
Wow, that's
Fucking
punks.
punks.
Period.
Fucking punks.
That's punks.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So are people going to play this on the news today?
Probably
Yeah, I
not.
wonder if they are going to play the explanation.
Probably not.
Because they had a lot of fun playing it when they thought it was Coons.
Why not play it now that it's been explained?
Right.
Yeah.
That should be everywhere today.
Everywhere.
Holy fuck. I swear to you, when he said, I said punks, I'm sitting here like, no way did you say punks. I heard something that didn't sound like punks, certainly, but it's clear as day now.
Play it again?
Hold on. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Wow.
Punks.
Yeah. Punks.
Yeah.
How did they get coon out of that?
Because they wanted to find something racist.
Was
And
there-
when they said it sounds like, it's hard to tell what it is. When someone tells you it's this, you go, oh yeah, it sounds like, because coon, when it said coons, I was like, oh yeah, it does sound like
But
coon.
now I don't hear coon at all.
I don't either.
Was there a different version of that where the audio was a little...
I don't know.
I think that's pretty
That's
much it.
always that has always been the audio, and the news thinks that's coon.
Yeah. Man.
Wow.
Not only, so NBC edited the thing to go, they took out just the way he goes, he's looking suspicious, he's black.
Yeah,
And then the coons, God, they wanted it to be
They wanted it to be
he's
racial
white Hispanic.
thing.
When have you ever heard anybody described as white Hispanic?
Never.
Ever?
Right.
Never until this.
That clip should be everywhere today.
They
George
want it.
Zimmerman saying, I said punks.
Yeah.
And then you could listen again, and it sounds like punks.
It's punks.
Clear as day.
Even if you hate Hannity, and I'm plenty of people hate Hannity, he has honestly, with this story, made absolute assholes out of the rest of the mainstream press.
Yes.
Well, you hate him on everything else, fine, but on this story,
Yes.
he has made an asshole out of every mainstream network.
And this is an important point in the story, and this is where you got to understand our news just stinks. They will not go with this today.
No.
Maybe one, maybe one.
They honestly don't want to put the truth out there. They want to make their own story, and they know enough people that watch their newscasts are very uneducated on this case.
Right.
So there are plenty of people that still think he said coon, will always think he said coon.
Right.
There are people that think that the police told him not to follow. There are people that, and will never think any different.
Right.
And then when he gets acquitted, they're going to be fucking freaking out because they don't know the facts.
Unbelievable. I'm going to watch Wolf Blitzer today.
In the Situation Room?
Yeah, because he's in the Situation Room, and this is a situation.
This is a situation.
It certainly is.
This is an absolute situation. I want to see what he does with this.
I'm sure he'll play this as much as he played the other audio, right?
Yeah. We moved on from your light issue a little too quickly, Ant. You said you don't like the dark, right?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of sitting in the dark.
How about dancing in the dark?
I could do that.
Jason from CT on Twitter writes, he's not afraid of the dark, he's afraid of the darks.
Oh, my. That's racist.
And then this lady who has a horrible Twitter name, I can't even help you out, sorry. Anthony hates candles because of the ex-wife.
That could be. She
Goes
used
back
to light
to an
them
old
candles
story
up.
when it was sexy time.
Oh, would she light them candles up for some of that sex? Yuck.
So now we understand why you don't like
Fuck
candles.
that.
That just brings back bad memories. Huh?
Yes. Oh, bad memories of fucking missing out on playing Half-Life. And
There are stories we tell in this show that I swear I could hear another 100 times.
Oh, I know.
And just quickly, when I used to drop you off and see those candles in the window, and you're just pure disgust.
Like, oh, God.
And then one time you actually told me, could you please go around the block once?
Just go around the block. I got to psych myself up for this. Fucking poor Gordon Freeman's going to have to sit there for another few levels while I take care of business. While I fake an orgasm so I don't fucking come in her and have a kid.
Do you know how great that is that you used to fake coming in your wife?
Yeah.
Oh! Would you make the cum face?
Oh, yeah.
Then you just go
Jesus.
jacking off later?
And I'd fucking lay seed in the bottom of the toilet.
Hey, was that the part where he said it's fucking cold?
That's what it sounded like, yeah. Fucking cold.
Is that the same part of
Yes.
the clip? Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Because someone pointed that out, and I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You want more of the Zimmerman?
Oh, yeah.
We could keep going back to the ex-wife.
hell
It's one of my
yeah.
favorite subjects.
Jesus.
George says Trayvon was not running, and he was not pursuing him.
You said, and then we get to the issue where you said on the 911 call that he's running. You said that to the dispatch. Is there any chance in retrospect, as you look back on that night and what happened, and the nation obviously is paying a lot of attention to this,
Yes, sir.
trying to maybe get into the mindset, because we also have learned that Trayvon was speaking with his girlfriend supposedly at the time, that maybe he was afraid of you, didn't know who you were?
No.
You don't think that? Why do you think that he was running then?
Well, maybe I said running, but he was more...
You said he was running.
Yes. It was like skipping, going away quickly, but he wasn't running out of fear.
You could tell the difference?
He wasn't running.
So he wasn't actually running?
No, sir.
Okay, because that's what you said to the dispatchers. You thought he was running. Let me ask you this. At that point, we can hear the unbuckling of the seatbelt, hear you opening the car door, and this dispatch asks you at that point, and this became a very key moment that everyone in the media focused on, and the dispatcher asked you, are you following him? And you said yes. Explain that.
I meant that I was going in the same direction as him, to keep an eye on him so that I could tell the police where he was going. I didn't mean that I was actually pursuing him.
So this moment where some had suggested you were out of breath on that tape, you yourself were not running?
No, sir.
Well, Hannity is very focused.
Oh, yeah,
He's done a very good job.
Yeah, Hannity did a great job with
He
this.
did, but I'm going to tell you, Zimmerman is not as convincing to me.
No?
No, because I think what he's doing is being careful about how he answers.
He has
because
to be. This is all evidence
admissible.
For the trial. It's all admissible.
But he's saying things like, because Hannity called him on it too. He goes, well, you said he was running. Well, I meant he was skipping away. I buy more in the moment that the guy was moving away from him quickly rather than skipping away. I don't believe that he didn't know the other guy might have been afraid. I think he's actually answering for legal reasons, like
perhaps
if you acknowledge, like when he goes, did you feel threatened when you first got out of the car when he was staring at you? Legally, if the answer is yes, and you still pursue, that may remove your ground. I don't know what that is, but I think there's a little bit of bullshit there. Even though I still don't think that he actually cold-bloodedly murdered the guy, I think there's a little bit of bullshit there.
But how about this? Now, you can honestly tell when someone is running out of fear of you, and someone bolts running because they're afraid of you following them, and when someone's taking off, perhaps not running at full speed, but I know what he's talking about, this little skip move, this little just step up your speed from walking thing, when they want to get away from you based on not wanting you to follow them anymore, because they just don't want you watching them. Not out of fear, but out of, hey, motherfucker, I don't want you watching what I'm doing and taking off in that direction. You can tell the difference. I don't think Trayvon took off running and kept running away because, first of all, Zimmerman didn't follow him in a run.
Right.
If Trayvon ran away out of fear and kept running, this never would have happened.
Right.
He, at some point, circled back and punched Zimmerman in the face. That's what Zimmerman is saying, and that's what the evidence shows.
I'm wondering, did he come up on... Because what you're saying makes sense. Did he come up on him and he turns around and pops him? Because to me, it's like to get popped like that without pulling your pistol out first seems like you have to come around the corner.
He said he didn't see him. He said he lost sight of him, didn't see where he was. He had the phone. He was walking toward a courtyard to get an exact address to tell the police. Because where his truck was, there was no way to really tell the police exactly where he was. So he was going to get an address in a courtyard where he was, and at that point, Trayvon comes out of virtually nowhere and punches him right in the fucking nose and broke his nose.
So, but as far as Trayvon is concerned, he's walking, and this fucking guy is just like eyeballing him. I'm not saying he should have punched the guy, but because he is a shot. Unarmed guy. He's literally just walking, and this fucking creepy dude is staring at him. Did he know? But did he know it was a neighborhood watch guy?
No.
So he sees this fucking guy staring at him, and then following him. And he's probably like, "What?" If that's how it happened, he's like, "What the fuck's this creepy guy follow me for?"
Well, I would think if I was walking in a neighborhood that I didn't live in, and someone's following me, I would first assume it's probably somebody in the neighborhood that is wondering what the fuck I'm doing there.
I would find it, like if I was in a neighborhood that I didn't live in, I thought someone, and I thought someone was following me, and I didn't know they were neighborhood watch.
Oh yeah, I would
be
definitely
fucking worried. I'd be worried.
I would definitely be worried.
Or angry.
No, I don't know if I'd be angry. I mean, there had been break-ins in that neighborhood, and he was doing what he felt he had to do to keep some of these places from being broken into.
I'm not 100% with Zimmerman, but I'm not. I don't.
I think the evidence points to an acquittal, though.
I think you're right.
Whether you believe him or not,
right.
or that, I think there's enough there. There's enough evidence here, and he's credible enough, and he passed a lie detector test.
Right.
And the evidence taken at the time, and his injuries, and all this stuff put together, there's enough there to not convict him of second-degree murder.
I think you're right, and I do believe that he got punched, and I do believe that his head was split. Like everything they've tried to disprove, I think actually did happen. I believe the violent, like the way I think Trayvon probably popped him.
Yes.
And I think that he really didn't intend on murdering the guy.
Yeah.
There's just something about this lead up to the actual event that's annoying me, because I think he's answering only to protect himself legally, and he's fucking dancing around what he knew was going on. That there's something there that I'm not buying.
Wow, amazing. He's using the media to try to get his point across instead of just being crucified in it for months.
And if Trayvon was alive, he would be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
That's why you got to bring this to the court.
There's just something about him that's bugging me in his answers.
Well, let's continue. George says he didn't follow Trayvon after the 911 call.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do from that minute forward when the dispatch said, we don't need you to follow him? What did you do next?
I walked across the sidewalk onto my street, Retreat View Circle, where I thought I would meet a police officer that I had called.
So you did not continue to follow him at that point?
No, sir.
How long was it, George, after that you saw Trayvon again? Because you said you stopped, that you did not continue pursuing him. When did you next see Trayvon Martin?
Less than 30 seconds.
Okay, and so at that point, Trayvon is, all of a sudden you turned around and there he was?
Yes, sir.
What happened next?
He asked me what my problem was.
Expletive problem.
Yes, sir. And I was wearing a rain jacket, and I had put my cell phone in my jacket pocket as opposed to my jeans pocket where I normally keep it. And I immediately went to grab my phone to this time call 911 instead of the non-emergency. And when I reached into my pants pocket, because that's where I keep it out of habit, it wasn't there, and I was shocked. I looked up, and he punched me and broke my nose.
One shot.
Yes, sir.
So he said to you, you have a problem. Those were the exact words you used. You remember it?
Do you have a problem? What's your problem?
What's your problem? And you said to him, I don't have a problem.
Yes, sir.
You reached for your phone.
I reached for it as I was saying, no, I don't have a problem.
And at that point, you just got hit?
He was already within arm's length from me.
See,
Uh-oh.
This is the hard. That's hard.
Uh-oh.
Here's the hard part for that.
That's a sticky point.
Very sticky point.
Yep.
I looked up and he hit me. Like, literally, you're following this guy who you're suspicious of, or you stop following him. He reappears, and you look down because you forget where you put your phone instead of reaching for a pistol, which you have. Mm-hmm. Who in their right mind in that situation where, regardless of who you are, there's a conflict between two men in the dark. So you're aware and afraid. Who the fuck is going to look down to dial 911 as this, if you don't know, criminal or angry black dude is coming towards you, you're going to reach for your pistol.
This right here is the pivotal moment of this case.
Yeah.
Did he go to reach for his gun? Trayvon sees that and punches him in the face out of fear that this guy's pulling a gun on him.
Yeah.
Or did it happen like Zimmerman says? Now, this right here is the moment. Here's the deal, though, that's going to be in the trial. there's no witness to this except for George Zimmerman and except for the physical evidence that's there, which shows that Zimmerman is beat up. It shows that Trayvon was shot at very close range after Zimmerman was beat up, obviously.
Right.
That's what they're going to have to work on, not a speculation that Trayvon might have thought he was going for the gun. That's a maybe. You got to go with the evidence. I honestly think Zimmerman's walking. Now, that's very sticky.
Yeah,
right
but I simply, listening to that, don't believe him.
Right.
Like, if he had said, in this, like, just right there, legally or not, whatever the legality of it is, if he had said he was approaching me and I said to him, look, I'm armed, and he charged me, and that I would believe, because that's what I think most people would do in that situation. Nobody in an honest situation, or again, most, you get to reach for a fucking phone to dial 911 because the guy's approaching you when you have a pistol. Who's going to reach for their cell phone? Oh, nerds, it's not in my pocket. Say, black fist in my face. Oh, thank golly, I have a gun.
Oh, nerds.
Come on, stop.
All right, George talks about Trayvon seeing his gun and George calling out for help.
When did he first see your gun?
After we were on the ground, I shimmied with him on top of me, and it made my jacket rise up. And he, being on top of me, saw it on my right side.
What happened after that?
I felt him take, he had, after he couldn't hit my head on the concrete anymore, he started to try to suffocate me. And I continued to push his hands off of my mouth and my nose, particularly because it was excruciating, having a broken nose and him putting his weight on it. And that's the point in time when he started telling me to shut up, shut up, shut up.
Why did he tell you to shut up?
I don't know.
We heard the screams on the one recording from a neighbor that was calling the police, and there's been some dispute whose voice that is. Was that your voice screaming, or was that Trayvon Martin's voice screaming?
That was my voice. Absolutely.
That was your voice?
Yes, sir.
And the police even said at one time they heard 14 screams. You were screaming that loud?
Yes, sir.
They'll be able to prove whose voice it is in court.
I don't know.
It's
It's on
been,
the
yeah,
back of a
that's-
tape.
That's always been another point that is,
Right.
who knows, but, yeah.
I don't believe that's the first time Trayvon saw his gun as he was being attacked and it shimmied up. You're on a dark street and the guy's fucking pounding you.
Right.
I don't believe that he looks down if he's on top of you, beating you. I find it hard to. I mean, none of us have been in a fight in years, but you don't look down at the guy's waist when you're punching him in the face.
And Trayvon was strangling him. Is there marks that prove this?
Or smothering him, you're saying, hands over the face.
Smothering him over
Didn't he
his
say
face.
he had him around his neck at one point?
No, I think he said he
okay.
was trying to covering his mouth and his nose.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, how about we do this? We take a break. And when we get back, George talks about shooting Trayvon.
George.
This would be a good place to stop for the
right.
for the moment.
I simply am having trouble believing some of this.
It's the Sean Hannity interview with George Zimmerman.
Hannity did a good job. I thought he was thorough.
He did. He was thorough. He didn't come off as biased or anything. He's asking him all the questions and calling him out on a lot of stuff.
I think anyone would stretch the truth, though, Jimmy. You know.
Without, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't believe he should be acquitted. I mean, convicted of second-degree murder at all.
No.
But I do think he acted more irresponsibly, and I think that I just don't buy that Trayvon Martin. Because you have to remember, this guy really was just going to get Skittles. Like he wasn't there doing anything wrong. He really was just fucking going to get something from the store. He had them. He actually had the stuff. And he was just going back to watch the All-Star game. You know, it's like, I just don't.
I'm not saying that, it's not tragic.
Yeah.
It's not that mistakes weren't made. Maybe cases of mistaken identity, shit like that. But, if George Zimmerman felt his life was being threatened at the time, which evidence shows that could very well be.
Sure.
Regardless of what the actual truth of the matter is, unfortunately, he's going to be acquitted. I don't think there's no way second-degree murder sticks on this motherfucker. It doesn't happen. No fucking way. These prosecutors went too far. and they're going to pay for it by losing this case.
And they're going to try to plea him down to, what, manslaughter or something, and he won't take a plea?
Maybe. I don't think he'll take a plea. I think he's got this fucking knocked. I think he'll be fine.
All right, we'll continue with the audio in just a bit. Stay there.
Sirius XM. And now, the Opie and Anthony Show.
Let's get back to George Zimmerman. So we're talking about the interview he did with Sean Hannity last night from a hotel room somewhere in Florida. And now we're up to the point where George talks about shooting Trayvon.
All right.
Do you remember when you yourself reached for your weapon? Do you remember that moment?
Yes, sir.
Tell us about that.
At that point, I realized that it wasn't my gun, it wasn't his gun, it was the gun.
Did he say anything? Because you said he was talking a lot about the gun. Did he say he noticed the gun?
He said, "You're gonna die tonight," and took one hand off of my mouth, and I felt it going down my chest towards my belt, my holster.
Ooh, sexy.
And that's when I didn't have any more time.
Do you think you acted more out of a conscious thought? I mean, I know these events happen very quickly. Do you remember consciously thinking, I've got to grab my gun? Or did you just do it? Was there a conscious thought that went through your head that you thought you were going to die and that you had to take this, you had to get your weapon and fire?
I'd love to give you an answer.
You don't know.
It just happened so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I simply do not believe him.
Yeah, that's
I don't.
rough
Again,
too, man.
I don't think he's a second-degree murderer. I really don't. I do not believe that Trayvon Martin said to him, "You're going to die tonight." Even if he passed a lie detector test, I believe that is way too perfect legally for Trayvon to have said, "You're going to die tonight," and reach down towards his gun.
Yeah.
I don't believe him.
It sounds like he's posturing for the trial here.
And of course, I would too.
Yeah. He's trying to save his own ass. Having called the police beforehand, I doubt he was out to shoot somebody. You know, I mean, he called the police. They were on their way. He wanted the police to show up before any confrontation. But now, you got a guy. All of a sudden, he's being confronted by somebody. I do think Trayvon knew he had that gun before he pulled the gun out. I do think now I do think he knew he had the gun.
Or was he just getting his ass kicked and panicked? Like, again, I would too if I had a gun and Trayvon or anybody was beating me up. I'd pull it out.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe he just panicked and shot him because he was getting his ass kicked.
You're going to go to the maximum that you can possibly go to. And if you have the gun, that's what you're going to do if you're getting your ass handed to you.
I simply do not believe that Trayvon Martin said to him, "You're going to die tonight." If circumstances had been different, I just don't buy it. It just doesn't. It doesn't seem real to me.
No.
That everything he's saying is too perfect legally.
Yeah.
And just don't buy it.
Well, let's continue. George talks about fearing for his life now.
There was a bounty put on your head by the new Black Panther Party, wanted dead or alive.
Yes, sir.
Nobody's been arrested.
Yes, sir.
Do you feel your life is in jeopardy?
Yes, sir.
By the Black Panther Party?
Amongst others, yes, sir.
And you've had multiple death threats?
Yes, sir.
Look at what happened in this case because it became so public. Spike Lee is tweeting out what he thinks is your home address. The Reverend Al Sharpton and NBC News, tries to use this case to bring up the issue of racial profiling. What do you say to Spike Lee, who didn't know the facts of the case, they hadn't been revealed? What do you say to Al Sharpton and those that rushed to judgment? What do you think their motives were?
I can't guess to what their motives are. I would just ask for an apology. I mean, if I did something that was wrong, I would apologize.
This is going to come back to haunt him, by the way.
Really? Why?
Because he does, during this interview, apologize to the family. Now, a prosecuting attorney can make it sound like, hey,
why would you
apologize?
Right.
And then later on in the same interview, you say, if I did something wrong, I would apologize. You feel you did something wrong here? They will do that.
You're right.
They will
use it.
And his explanation will be, yeah, maybe I said that wrong. I was saying I'm sorry that your son is gone and that it happened.
Right.
But I'm not sorry specifically.
But the jury will hear that.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah.
And they will twist it. You're right.
Yeah.
George talks about being supported in prison.
The prison population was very aware of your case being so high profile. Did they treat you differently?
The inmates?
The inmates, yeah.
Yes.
In what way?
I believe that a lot of them personally know that sometimes the media doesn't portray things correctly. There was one instance when I was in the rec yard by myself, and in a window, a few inmates got together and just made a sign of strength to me. And
yeah, but what color were they?
Exactly.
Isn't that important?
I'd like to say the sisters didn't get to George Zimmerman.
Hannity should ask what color were they?
Yeah, I'm sure it was the white supremacists.
Well, right. Well,
the guys with fucking swastikas on their shoulders.
Everyone hangs out with their people in prison. So which group was it?
Exactly. I don't think it was the black guys. Maybe the Hispanic guys.
I don't know. I think it's important here. I don't know if Sean didn't ask.
No.
George talks about not being white.
The narrative it seems they want to make about this case is that, and you could read the articles if you haven't already, it's a white guy that killed an unarmed black youth holding Skittles and an iced tea. What do you say to that?
Again, I appreciate you not rushing to judgment. I think that people assumed I was white because of my last name. And my father is Caucasian, my mother's Hispanic. But English was my second language, believe it or not. My grandmother and my mother raised me. Well, my dad was in the Army, and he wasn't home for a lot of my infancy, so I consider myself, first of all, an American, but a Hispanic American, and I don't think it's fair that they rush to judgment to assume that.
All right, this guy, he's a smart guy.
Yeah, but he's also...
He knows how to fucking sell himself because he's distancing himself away from the whole white thing.
When Hannity's
he knows
smart
that'll
too,
help him.
Because Hannity's using this as an opportunity to motherfuck the rest of the media.
Oh, yeah.
And he's right. Again, hate him if you want, but the media just is fucking disgusting.
I think Hannity did a great job there.
He did do a great job, man.